Hi, I'm John Atack.
I'm Sam Atack.
And this is an Opening Minds presentation. And we're going to talk about our favourite subject, the human predator. And before we go ahead, I want to just say that a predator is a human being who robs and pillages. That was its original meaning. It later came to mean an animal that hunts prey. The human predators are indeed people who rob and pillage and who hunt prey. They hunt other people as prey. So Sam has a little list, and he's going to read us the first point from that list.
Human predators are mean.
Human predators are mean. It seems the silliest thing to start with, but we really do. We put aside meanness, don't we, in people? We excuse it. We say, oh, you've got to think the best of people.
There was a reason behind it.
Yeah. So my policy is forgive, but don't forget. Remember what somebody did, and if they continue to be mean, they're mean people, and they're going to be mean to you. They're going to be mean to other people.
So if I called you a big nose, you'd remember that?
No.
Good.
And
predators are utterly selfish.
They really don't care about anybody but themselves. Everything is towards the self, and when you see that, we talk about people being pro-social and anti-social. And it's a very simple distinction. Do they do things to help other people? Do they express care and concern about other people, or don't they? Oh, selfishness. You want to add anything about selfishness?
Yeah, there's not really much point to it, because as I have already proved in previous videos, it's all about me.
Oh, okay, well, thank you for that, Sam.
It's logic, right? That's what gets through to these people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, next point.
Yeah, next point.
Predators pretend friendship and love, but they feel absolutely nothing for others.
And the pretense can be very strong. That they'll absolutely con you. You know, sometimes you need to have this happen to you a few times. I mean, it's probably still happening to me one way or another. But you need to have a little bit of suspicion. Nearly said superstition. That wouldn't get into Stevie Wonder. Superstitious. Yeah. They don't feel anything for anybody else. The next point, if you would.
Predators are charming and good at flattery, but they don't mean a single word of it.
They don't mean a single word of it. Flattery is a very interesting word. It means insincere praise. So when you say, oh, that's a very flattering remark you made about me, it's a bit confusing, isn't it?
Actually, yeah.
It's like you're saying,
that's not very flattering.
It's a lovely complimentary thing you said about me. It's a part of how they take control of people by being really, really ultra nice. And there are a few people in the world who actually are ultra nice. And I would say that until you get to know somebody, be a little bit suspicious if they seem to be being too nice to you.
Predators don't feel anxiety or fear.
Yeah, I mean, there's a question there that they probably do feel a little bit of anxiety at times. There's a kind of spectrum of it. They're anxious that they're not being adulated, for example, if they're heading an authoritarian group, and you get the vulnerable narcissist.
Yeah, who go and cry in the bathtubs afterwards.
Said nice things about other people, but not about me.
I think I'm that type.
Okay, all right. I haven't noticed you crying in the bathtub at all.
Yeah.
But maybe
I don't use the bathtub.
Oh, all right.
Anyway.
But the thing about fear is important that many predators just don't seem to feel fear. So they'll do things that are dangerous, and that can be dangerous to us. Okay?
Yep. Predators brag and boast and make up outrageous lies. When challenged, they blame others.
Yeah, look how great I am. I've kept this. No, we're not going to go there. We're not going to talk about the man who explained to people how incredibly humble he was. Which is the best boast of all, really. I'm just the most modest person in the whole world.
I'm more humble than people think.
And they'll make up stories about their past that exaggerate, whatever paltry achievements they do have, and make it sound, as if they've achieved something wonderful.
Big.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think I'm permitted to use the example of Ron Hubbard, who in 1950 in an interview said that he'd spent the last year of the war in hospital because he had ulcers, pink eye, conjunctivitis, something wrong with his feet, and he'd fallen down a ship's ladder. By 1965, 15 years later, almost 15 years later, he's telling people that he was crippled and blinded in World War II and cured his war wounds. So how he cured his ulcers, we don't know. But and falling down a ship's ladder is not really a war wound. But you'll get that kind of exaggeration, and with time, the snowball will get bigger and bigger as it rolls down the hill. You know, I won World War II single-handed with one hand tied behind my back. Okay, I think we got to about there.
Predators are impulsive and easily bored. They demand thrills and take dangerous risks. They enjoy pushing others into taking dangerous risks too.
Yeah, impulsivity is a very important idea, that we live in a society which is headed towards a kind of narcissism, a kind of me first, make me great again, where thrill-seeking, and grabbing some little piece of pleasure is what it's about. And that's okay, having pleasure is a good thing, probably. Yeah. But I think we also need to realise that happiness is something you get by doing something good for other people. I think that's kind of important.
So something like doing sport or climbing a mountain may get you that feeling, but it's not necessarily a bad thing.
No,
when
absolutely.
It harms others, or
when you just go, I'm going to climb this mountain without having any gear. Again, they're the sort of people, we always mention Rajneesh at this point, who, according to his former bodyguard and biographer, Hugh Milne, he went to India and researched Rajneesh's childhood and found that one of his childhood friends had died walking across a high wire, having been provoked into it by Bhagwan, which means the supreme god.
Supreme god. Yeah, sounds like it.
Talking about modesty and boasting, it's like, me nasty. Sorry, it was my joke, and I got it in that time.
Good. Yeah.
And they'll get you to take risks as well. That really is a point, that if somebody is pushing you to do something that you feel uncomfortable about, no is a complete sentence, and it's like, I don't have to justify why I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. That's because you're a scaredy cat. Maybe.
Yep.
But the answer is no. You do it first. Okay, sorry.
And predators are bullies with explosive tempers.
Yeah, this is the charming, wonderful person who you're having dinner with them, and the waiter comes along, and there's not enough ice in the water, and then they're back to you, being charming and nice. If you see that behaviour, you're dealing with a predator or somebody with a very bad temper.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the difference is, but anger management.
Yeah, it's good. Predators enjoy humiliating people.
Yeah, that's a pro-social, anti-social distinction. Pro-social people don't like it when other people are hurt and abused. I mean, there's a little bit of ribbing, there's a little bit of fun.
Yeah.
It might even be a little bit of hazing, though. I think that's gone a bit too
extreme,
far in some American universities. And that's okay, making fun.
Yeah, like I have been known to call you big-nosed every now and then.
I've never heard you say that before.
I said it like 3 minutes ago. So if I called you a big nose, you'd remember that.
I was ignoring it.
Oh, good.
And that's why I said, I kind of ironically said.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
I've never heard you say that before. What did you say?
I can't remember.
Big nose. If you call me big nose, see, we're back to the life of Brian, which is basically the core doctrine out of which we work. Predators enjoy humiliating people, putting people down, making fools of them. Now, it's one thing to make a little bit of a joke, but when you start hunting somebody down and, reducing them to tears in front of a group of people, you're dealing with a predator. Be very careful.
Predators hate it if anyone else has power or is praised. For the predator, life is a competition, and they want to win.
Yeah, predators don't like it if anybody else is getting any glory, and sort of this Rafael Nadal bloke, he's quite good at tennis, but you should see me play.
That's Stephen Hawking. He may have.
Yeah, he knew a little bit about physics, but look, here are some numbers I added up. That they really don't seem to get the achievement of other people, and they don't feel it necessary to admire anybody or to.
And they get annoyed when others.
Yeah, it's like, so again, you look at the leaders of authoritarian groups, and they brag about their incredible wisdom and knowledge, and then you find them saying stupid things that are absolutely contradictory. Crazy example. Ron Hubbard talked about syllogisms, and in one place he quite correctly attributes them to Aristotle. This is the idea of, you find the opposite point, and you make a synthesis of these two things. It's a way of thinking. Well, I don't know why I brought this up.
I thought that was Marx.
Well, you were thinking a little bit late.
Yeah.
I mean, Aristotle was there first. Maybe Marx claimed it, but
let's hope.
Later, in another issue, Hubbard says Socrates invented syllogism. So you'll get these wonderful, brilliant minds, and they make mistakes, and they won't admit to having made a mistake. They'll get into some convoluted logic as to, well, you see, Aristotle was Plato's pupil, and Plato was Socrates' pupil.
Yeah,
so
and Karl Marx was just an incarnation of Socrates. He went back in time. He was Socrates, therefore I was right about that point. You
were, only it was Aristotle.
Ah, damn.
Okay. Life's a competition, and they want to win.
Yeah.
So they'll tell you that life is a game. It's not a game. For a lot of people, for all of us, it's a hero's journey, really. To get through life, you are going to have to overcome suffering, and it's not just a game. It's certainly not a competition, unless we all come out as winners.
Unless we take game theory perspective.
Yeah, and in that case, you end up with mutually assured destruction, I think, is the end of game theory. Okay.
Right. Predators weaken people with insults and put downs.
They do. What are you looking at me like that for?
Big nose. No, I've done that too often.
It is getting a little, But, what's wrong with having a big nose? The next one.
Predators are cunning and manipulative.
Predators are cunning and manipulative. They are vulpine. They are fox-like. They want to, get you in place so that they can basically take you over, take control of you.
Predators lie easily and think nothing of breaking a promise.
They do. They also apologise with, total apparent sincerity, and it's just not true. If you've got somebody around you who keeps telling you lies, take notice of it. You don't trust that person. Realise that you cannot trust them. And if there's somebody who promises you something, and they don't come through with it, be very cautious about doing any business dealings with them or anything like that. Certainly don't put your life in their hands. I think you're down at the end there.
Yeah, predators are without conscience. They do not feel remorse or guilt.
That's the defining characteristic of the psychopath, that they are without remorse. It doesn't matter to them what they've done to other people, which leads us nicely on to the next point.
Predators often boast about the harm they've done to other people.
And they also
boast about breaking the law.
Yeah. So their sense of right and wrong is skewed, and you'll sort of maybe think, well, they're just not adding things up right. But the reality is that they don't care. So they will confess to the most outrageous behaviour and say, well, that's perfectly normal. This is to be expected. And it's not my fault.
Yeah,
that's not my fault. Okay? It's that one there.
Oh, okay. Predators are parasites. They are lazy and live off others, giving as little as possible in return.
Yeah. So they don't join in. They won't help out. They won't do the washing up. They won't tidy up their room. Not mentioning any names. And,
we should move the camera around so they can see your room.
Oh, my room's beautiful.
Yeah, beautiful.
This is I work here though, so I have an excuse for all these mounds of books. Yeah, right. But you don't work on putting your laundry in the laundry basket.
Touche.
No, I'm not for a moment suggesting that Sam is a predator. As much as he'd like to be. They give as little as possible as they can to predators. And next.
Predators are control freaks, stopping others from taking control of anything if they can.
Micro-control, making sure that you're following their little steps, the steps of their little plan, and they'll keep just going over and over it, and you have to conform to their plan. And if you question their plan, then that really is the most terrible thing to do. So the micro-control leads us into the next point, which is that one right there.
Predators force petty rules on others, rules that are impossible to follow.
Yeah. So Should we do the toothpaste tube? We always do the toothpaste tube.
Toothpaste tube.
Yeah, there'll be things like, the toothpaste tube has to point east towards Mecca. And then the next day when, you've carefully got the toothpaste, they'll be saying, no, it's the wrong way. It's meant to be north-northeast. So you will never live up to the rules. And the idea is to introvert you, make you look at yourself rather than thinking about what they're doing.
Yeah.
And it can be very successful. You can see people being tamed and broken into relationship with abusive authoritarian people, with predatory people. And you kind of go, why does she keep going back to him? He keeps hitting her. And you go, well, it's a bit more complicated than that, how this relationship develops. And we'll talk about that elsewhere, no doubt. Only got one more.
Predators boast about tricking other people.
Yeah, and we've already said they boast about the harm they've done to other people, and they boast about breaking the law. They basically just boast and boast and boast. And
all the nasty stuff they've done.
Yeah, and that's the end of the list.
Yeah.
So that's all you're guessing. Sorry.
No.
Thank you very much. I'm still John Atack.
I might still be Sam Atack.
At some point, and this has been an Opening Minds presentation. We thank you very much for your attention.